SML Brodown, Field General 007, Primetime 000. Bringing you some of the hottest topics in the SML today. We got a couple good questions. I'm going to start off something very interesting. Prime, I'm going to go ahead and if you got anything you want to start with, any opening statements, the floor is yours.
No, I'm good. I'm ready to knock this out.
All right, so number one, I think it's going to be an interesting topic. I thought about this the other day, kind of brought on by Below the Borders or whatever that one with Figs and or Fins and Bomber was. A lot of shows that kind of come up, a lot of different videos, a lot of one-off type things. And I guess that this is kind of a two-part question. One, in your mind, out of all the, and not just videos, but content as a whole, who has been the most consistent content creator this cycle?
Oh yeah, probably Bomber. He's been doing it since the cycle started and carried on through it. You always have your guys who enjoy doing one-offs, and I enjoy the one-offs because they're fresh ideas. But it's tough to do it consistently, and you can burn yourself out if you're not careful.
All right, so mine is going to surprise you. I don't think that you're going to really think about this, but in terms of, I wasn't there for a couple months, but I can guarantee that this guy's done it just because this is his niche. And it's DW with the polls. I think DW has probably been the only one that's been there the whole time because Bomber's missed a few episodes of F&G. His Jaguar Prowling the Children or whatever that one was. That one kind of disappeared. He's had I think he had like a Sports Center type one that was there for a little bit. And not that he hadn't had content. I mean, he's had content throughout. But none of his shows have truly been consistent all the time. And I give a shout out to DW for being the most consistent content creator with the polls. I think that's something.
Yeah, that's true. Death Wish a lot of time and his stuff. Obviously, anybody who does anything takes a lot of time, but his is different. His is very different. And obviously, hats off to anybody who does anything. But I enjoy the polls. It's unique. It's a unique ad that nobody really thought of doing.
It's a different type of engagement.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I want to shout out, and then kind of a segue or a part two to the first question. Out of all the one-offs, and there's been a lot, and even the dude that take the altar boy behind the church or whatever it was. What's your favorite one-off or show that just kind of fizzled out?
Yeah, I enjoy doing the the Prime one. What was it? Waking Up the Echoes or whatever. I enjoy doing that, and I want to do something on some. The sit down, but the Waking Up the Echoes, where it's like a documentary on somebody throughout their season. I did one on myself because it's easy to do it because you don't have to worry about somebody else's timeline. I would like to do that more often for different players throughout a cycle, but it requires a lot of creative juices and somebody who also has a creative mindset. I kind of want to do one on Woods, the old man Woods, but it just takes a lot of work and planning to do that.
I like the Bomber Sports Center or Top 10, whatever that show was. It was kind of different. It had a little bit of everything that was already there, but at the same time, he tried to, from a production standpoint, he had the green screen where it looked, and he had the backdrop where it was kind of like Sports Center, and then he had highlights and was supposed to have user. Maybe that's why the show fizzled out, because no one ever submitted any highlights. But I think that one was kind of obviously, Dan's Take Me to Church was always interesting because Dan's not really a huge trash talk guy. Like, he'll trash talk you and a few other guys that just kind of take different barbs at each other. But Dan's show was kind of interesting because it was always kind of a call out, but at the same time, he's calling you out to try to make you better, in my opinion. So I kind of missed the Take Me to Church.
Yeah, the church was a good one. It was short, sweet, and to the point, and I enjoyed that.
What do you think about the Bengals' terrible two-step with what he's been doing? He's 4-0-1. Have you watched any of the games? Have you talked to him? What do you think about the Bengals?
Yeah, the interesting thing about the Bengals, their stats are pretty mediocre, but he's 4-0-1. He's winning games. Hasn't really beaten anybody, but he's winning games. And really, with his schedule, he does have Dump. He does have Dan. He's got the Rams. He's got Meats.
Yeah.
But other than that, with this hot start, if he can keep winning the games he has a shot at, we could see two-step back in the playoffs, and that's good for the SML. That's good for the OGs out there. That's a win for the OGs. We sacrificed Grams. We're throwing Grams. He's no longer an OG.
The sacrificial lamb.
And we're now embracing two-step as the best as one of the best OGs we've got.
Yeah, if you look at it, like you were just saying, look at the schedule. Obviously, whatever juju that NYT had prayed to, or whatever carny god that he was praying to, he's 1-4 right now. It seemed to have fizzled out, so I don't even consider him really a problem for Terrible Two Step at this point. You got the Cardinals. I don't think the Browns are really going to make much noise. You got the Cardinals, Rams, Broncos, Seahawks, and 49ers. That's 5 games. He's already got 4 wins. It'll probably take another, 5 wins maybe to get the playoffs for him. So he's got a legit chance. And
Yeah.
you said his stats are mediocre, which for the most part they are. He's 11th in passing, though, with 230. He's 10th with 26 points per game. He's 4th against the run, only allowing 82 yards a game, and he's only allowing 21 points per game, which is 11th best in the league. So his yardage stats may be, kind of mediocre, but overall, I think what the ones that count, points and allowing the rushing yards and stuff like that, I think that he's right on par where he should be, and he's really doing it with the team that's not that great. I talked about it with Dan, and I've just been kind of impressed with what the Bengals have done. So Terrible Tuesday, I'm going to keep shouting you out until you really disappoint me and totally fall off the map again. But hey, let's see what happens out of the other. And we're only quarter way through the season, so this could all change. I mean, Two-Step would literally lose every game the rest of the season.
Yeah, that'd be
Is there
bad.
a team that's maybe not performing so hot, or that's kind of on the cusp, or hasn't performed that hot this cycle, but this season is kind of maybe has a chance of flipping it around these last 12, 13 games, or probably about 12 games? Is there a team that you could see that may be able to flip the script and put one on them and go on the run
Well,
and maybe make the playoffs?
well, I guess I'm looking at two teams, kind of. One who's a team who's actually really good,
Yeah,
and it kind of went kind of we've kind of haven't heard anything from him in a while, and that's RD. Remember, like halfway through the cycle, or you might have been on your hiatus, but RD came in. He got a lot of hype from Mike. Mike called him the best TFM player of all time across connected franchise modes. He said RD was the greatest in all the leagues he's played with, and RD won a Super Bowl. And then after that, we really haven't heard much from RD other than a playoff win or two. So he's 4-0 right now. His Rams team's kind of deteriorated. No Aaron Donald anymore.
right.
So that might be tough for him. But I'm looking to see if RD can compete again in the NFC. I'm pretty sure he just laid the smackdown on Faz, if I'm not mistaken. This season he did. He beat Faz 31-3. Obviously, it's regular season. It's
Right.
first quarter of the season. That doesn't mean a whole lot, but if you're RD, it means something because you haven't won in quite some time in the SML. And then somebody kind of Clinky. Clinky's 4-1 right now. He's got to play Coach Pauly coming up. That'll be a big game. Actually, he played Pauly, and excuse me, I didn't realize that, and he actually beat Pauly 21-7. So you're looking at Clinky, who he's beat Washington. He's beat the Dolphins, and he played very competitively against a 5-0 Patriots team. Maybe Clinky gets in top 10 defense, top 10 defense scoring wise, top 10 scoring offense. Pretty solid numbers too.
So that's not really what I had in mind about, because those guys are both, well, at least RD's been kind of a contender. But Clink's a guy that hasn't had a whole lot of playoff success, but
No.
he's off to a hot start so far.
Yeah,
Um,
he hasn't made the playoffs ever. Clinky last
yeah,
season was 6-10 last
but
year.
one guy, if you look at, it's really not done shit in his entire SML career, and he really, honest to God, I mean, I was surprised he came out of retirement for how bad he did and how poorly he mismanaged his team. Was ZZ the Great, and now that he's coming back, you're 3-3, still not great numbers. I mean, he's sixth with passing yards with 222. His defense is kind of mediocre, but he's 3-3. He has Patrick Mahomes, three great receivers, and some talented players here and there. I think maybe it's fatigue, maybe it's just the stars aligning. I, for some reason, feel, and according to Daddy Leagues, he's on the bubble at eighth. And you look at the teams that they've got at 6 and 7. I think that technically ZZ is over both of those guys for a wild card, because they've got the Steelers, who are 2-4, and the Bills 2-3 over him. So I actually see ZZ in the playoffs as the wild card spot right now, as things sit today. And there's obviously, it's way too early. You could definitely see NYT, the Browns, a slew, the Raiders, a slew of teams that could make a run at it. But I
Yeah.
think ZZ's done a pretty good job of getting some early season wins, which obviously is something that he's struggled in the past. It would just be interesting to see ZZ in the playoffs.
Yeah, it'd be cool. ZZ, my guy, obviously The thing about ZZ is he's come in back in the SML and he just laid the smackdown on Mike. I got to give ZZ a shout out for that. And ZZ hasn't played. He literally hasn't played a KO game, a mutt game, a
Yeah.
any playing out. He said he literally just put the Madden away for what was it 2 months, and he's picked it up, and now he's 3-3. I mean that's pretty impressive.
Who do you think? I don't know where I was going with that question. So we'll go ahead and scratch that. What's the biggest blunder that's ever happened to you? Like Bomber has now had 2 times that he's recorded a first and goal and no audio. What's the biggest blunder that you've had occurred? Whether, I guess, first when just doing something content wise, and then 2 in the game would obviously have to be the Redskins miracle thing. But
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I've always been like pretty aware to check my audio before doing podcasts. I couldn't imagine doing that one, let alone twice. But Bombers managed to do that 2 times now, I think. Um, but for me, content wise, like recording stuff, I don't think I've done anything. Obviously, I flipped the salary cap off once. That was a pretty big blunder that affected the league. I went obviously I went. I think it was cover 3 or it was a cover 4 play in the Super Bowl against Washington that led up like a 95-yard tip drill Hail Mary. That's my biggest gameplay blunder in the SML. But yeah, it's never fun to record something that didn't actually record for 30 minutes, and
Right.
that's pretty frustrating.
Like this, I forgot to hit record.
Yeah, that'd be a bad deal.
Yeah, I'm just joking.
Whew, that'd be a bad deal.
That would be. Excuse me. If you look at a lot of numbers across the board, and I don't really want you to look right now, but you may have already taken notice of this. The last couple of seasons, it's been Mike and Terrible Two Step at the top of the interception list. Do you know who the top of the interception list is right now?
If I were to guess, if maybe Death Wish, I don't know.
He's up there. He's up there, but actually to lead it is Dwayne Haskins Jr.
Wow.
Which is the quarterback of
the Raiders.
The Raiders. So yeah.
Wow.
18 interceptions. Josh Allen with 16. Justin Herbert 15. Jordan Love 14, and Emery Leverett with 14 apiece. So I mean the Chargers are up there. Death Wish, apparently you know a little something about him. Maybe he's a weak passer or something like that. Josh Allen with the Saints, which is interesting because I talked about that before we started the game. I mean, it looked like one of the few high-scoring shootouts that I've seen in a while in the SML. It's the Falcons-Saints game. The Saints just can't seem to get it. They're 1-5. You look at it. It was 45-30. He had 426 passing yards, 22 of 30, 4 touchdowns, but he also had 4 interceptions. And then, Lawyer Killing had 1 tutty, 1 pick, but he had 150 yards on the ground and 3 touchdowns. What is it with Colt where he just can't seem to stay out of his own way?
Well, the problem with Colt is he leads the league in pass attempts by 20 attempts. So right off the bat, there your odds of interceptions go up by just throwing the ball more than everybody.
Sure.
Now another issue is I think he's gone away from checkdowns to running backs as much as he used to. For a while there, it was all he did. He still does that. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he'll still throw it, but Camaro's his leading receiver. He's got 31 catches. But if you go away from that a little bit, then you're gonna push the ball down the field a little bit more. You're gonna throw some picks. Now he's also played QP. He's also played RD, and Coop's defense is really good. Player like the talent on that Titans defense is legit. So he's played some tough defenses as well. He's 1-5. He's down in these games. It's tough to win when you have to throw the ball out of deficits.
Next topic, I want to talk about the Vikings owner. That was kind of like I mentioned the last time you and I talked. It started last season when Matt ran all over him and he got upset in his stream, and he started off real flat this season. He's kind of starting to get it back together a little bit, unless he just got thumped his last game. No, he won 49-7 against the Bears, 28-7 against Death Wish, 35-7 the week before that against the Bears. But the first 3 weeks, he struggled to beat the Lions 20-14. He lost to Tiny 22-17. He got blown out by RD. After that blowout against RD, he's been kind of putting down his opponents steadily better each week, it seems like. What's going on with Faz? Do you think that it was that running thing that was just in his head too much, and now he's trying to play his offense again and starting to get back going? Or what do you see if you had to look in the crystal ball? Do you think that Faz will continue to right the ship and make the playoffs, or what do you think?
Yeah, Faz is a great player, and I think there's about four guys in the league who you can look at the beginning of the season and how they're doing and not really care. Faz is one of them. Dan, myself, and maybe Bomber gets thrown in that conversation as well now. So Faz start. I don't care if he starts off 2-2 or 3-6. He's going to make the playoffs and he's going to compete. And when guys like Faz, who's literally a top 2 or 3 player in this league, starts coasting in the regular season, I think that's a thing. The problem is Faz is the most emotional player in the SML, and he gets in these weird. He almost gets in these weird little stints, and if they happen around the playoff time, then you see what happens. I
Right,
mean, he got upset by D Muse. He got thumped by Matt. He went from, remember last season, about halfway through last season, people were crowning
right,
Faz as the best in the league, bar none. It was Faz.
right.
And now he's kind of a forgotten man in the SML. No one really brings him up. So it's kind of interesting. I think Faz's biggest weakness is his mindset. I feel like he should be the best player in the league, bar none, but he can't get out of his own way, it seems.
Interesting to see. I think he'll make the playoffs. He's got kind of a tough schedule to go of it. He's got the Cardinals, 49ers. Then he's got 2 winnable games with Mike, the Lions, Mike again, the Chiefs, the Raiders. I think the Panthers would be an interesting test for him because he's got the Panthers, Broncos, and Washington, all 3 to end the season. So he's got an interesting schedule to say the least. It's kind of backloaded there at the end with some tough games. So that'll kind of have him playoff tested. If he wins all 3 of those games, he'll be feeling really good about his chances. His defense still only allowing 14 points per game, second best in the league. His offense, he went from like 32nd, he's already up to 15th now with 25 points per game. And total yards, he's at 305. He's definitely passing a lot more. He's 7th in the league with 208. So a lot of guys seem like they're trying to push the field a little bit now. Ever since Dan and I talked about it, a lot of guys just really seem like they're wanting to throw more. So we'll see if that continues to be a trend here in the SML. But
Yeah, yeah. Faz is a good passer. He's one of the best in the league, actually. I like Faz's passing game.
Brian, you got anything else you want to talk about?
No, man, I'm good. I'm interested to see how the season will play out. We got some guys hitting their stride towards the middle of the season. We're week 6 right now, week 7 maybe. Got a few undefeated left. I'm curious. I'm curious of who's gonna blow their load too early and who's gonna hit their stride at the right time. It's the last season of our cycle, so will there be another 2-time champ? Will I get to 3, or will somebody else get crowned? That's to be determined, I guess.
Yeah, and one last thing I forgot. I didn't write my questions down this time. Are you at all surprised? I mean, I'm assuming you have kind of a head count as to who has PS5s at this point. Are you
Yeah.
surprised by how many guys don't have them at this point? I get that there's still been the shortage and whatever, but I feel like if you were really pursuing it, that you could have had one if you wanted it.
Well, there's only about 3 guys that don't have one right
Oh,
now.
really? Okay.
Yeah, it's really not that much.
Okay.
So I think one of them, Dan, who he says he's just going to use his kids. I think it's like QP and honestly, I think other than him, Rowan Cub maybe. So it's not that many.
Yeah, go figure. Rowan would
Yeah.
hold everything up. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and cut it short before we even hit the 20-minute mark. Appreciate you guys tuning us in. Check us out, simmadleague.com, daddyleagues.com/SML. Check us out, Zazzle. We get you some merch, maybe a little mug or a shirt, underwear, something nice. Get yourself something nice on there. But this is the last season with Madden 21, so let's get this one in the bag. Try to get your games in quick so we can just all rest before Madden 22 comes out and the big scouting update gets released in October.
Yeah.
So looking forward to it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like, subscribe, take care. Have a great day.